The music cut out just as I stepped onto the stage in my engagement dress, a soft gold gown chosen by my mother to complement the family brand. I looked out at the sea of faces, friends, relatives, business associates, only to notice their eyes weren't on me anymore. They were glued to their phones, jaws slack, eyes wide. Something was wrong, and then I saw it. Projected onto the venue's massive LED screen, where my fiancé and I were supposed to play our childhood montage, was a live stream. A grainy hotel room. 2 people. Kissing. My fiancé. My sister. The room didn't gasp. They whispered. They watched. Some even chuckled. My father stood frozen beside the stage. My mother rushed to the planner to shut it off, hissing under her breath, "Who allowed this nonsense?" And me. I stood there like a statue in satin, heart cracking open, not just from the betrayal but from the casual way everyone accepted it. They weren't angry. They weren't shocked. They were already forgiving her. They were already writing me out of the story. That's when I knew I wasn't just losing a fiancé. I was losing my whole family. Or so they thought. They didn't even have the decency to hide it. When the screen finally went black, and the room returned to a low murmur, my fiancé didn't run after me. He didn't apologize. He didn't deny it. He just stood near the open bar, shrugging like a schoolboy caught copying homework. And my sister, she walked in 5 minutes later wearing my backup dress. The one I had shown her a month ago, and joked about keeping for a second outfit change. She smiled nervously at the crowd, clutched our mother's arm like a frightened child, and got a round of pity claps. I expected someone, anyone, to defend me. But my mother's voice was sharp. "You'll ruin your skin if you keep crying like that. Be strong." For once, my father didn't meet my eyes. He was already consoling the man who had lied to me for 3 years. Even my aunt came up to me and whispered, "At least it's someone you know. You should be grateful it wasn't worse." Grateful. I had been cheated on, humiliated, and publicly discarded, and they expected me to be grateful because the other woman shared my blood. They canceled the engagement party in name only. The caterers were told to keep serving. The wine kept flowing. I left the venue alone. No one even noticed I was gone until I had already locked the door to my apartment, taken off the engagement ring, and stared at it like it belonged to another version of me. One that had believed in family, in loyalty, in love. They had chosen her. Not once. Not accidentally. But fully. And in that betrayal, I realized something terrifying. They never really saw me as the daughter, the sister, or the fiancée. I was the placeholder. That was the night they erased me, and it was the same night I decided to redefine myself on my own terms, starting with a silence they wouldn't understand until it was too late. They thought I had nothing because I didn't flaunt anything. No branded handbags. No designer heels. No loud announcements about promotions or paychecks. To them, I was just the artsy daughter, the one who planned weddings and liked decorating things. They thought my real job was something soft and simple, like ribbon colors and floral arrangements. But what they never asked, and I never told, was that I didn't just plan events. I owned the companies that made them happen. While my sister was busy curating her life for Instagram and my fiancé was pitching half-baked startup ideas over dinner, I was investing. Silently. Strategically. Grandpa had left behind more than old books and broken clocks. He left behind land. A lot of it. The rest of the family ignored it, dismissed it as useless countryside lots. But I'd spent 2 years learning how to convert those forgotten plots into profitable venues, rustic wedding barns, hillside resorts, and lakeview estates. And I did it all without using the family name. Every side job I took was research. Every freelance gig I accepted was a test. By the time my sister stole my fiancé, I wasn't just financially stable, I was quietly powerful. They had made the mistake of underestimating me for years, but that was about to become my greatest weapon. Because when someone believes you're harmless, they never see the storm coming until they're already drowning. 3 months passed in silence. I didn't call. I didn't cry. I didn't beg for apologies, that would never come. They assumed I was licking my wounds. They assumed wrong. During those 3 months, my sister and ex-fiancé launched a PR blitz on social media. They rebranded the betrayal as a fated love story. She posted carefully filtered photos with captions like, "Sometimes, life surprises you when you least expect it. He wasn't meant for her because he was always mine." The worst part. People bought it. Family friends, who had once sent me birthday flowers, were now commenting hearts on her engagement photos. My mother even updated her profile picture to one with them, captioned, "My proudest moment, when love overcomes confusion." Confusion. That's what they called my engagement. That's what they called me. And then came the final insult, a wedding invitation. Cream card. Gold foil. Elegant calligraphy. My name listed among the honored guests. I wasn't just being erased, I was being mocked. They truly believed I was powerless, but they had no idea I had already made a call to the manager of the venue. A venue I had quietly acquired through a shell company last year, when it was facing bankruptcy. Their dream location, the grand estate in the Northern Hills, was now mine, and I wasn't just planning to attend. I was going to rewrite the script they thought they controlled. Because now this wasn't just about love. This was about respect, reputation, and reclaiming everything they tried to take from me. I didn't need to ruin the wedding. I needed it to go exactly as they planned, until the moment it didn't. Revenge is loud. But strategy whispers. I spent the next 4 weeks tightening the web I'd been weaving in silence. First, the venue. I restructured contracts, rerouted payments, and ensured that every staff member, every server, every security guard, every coordinator, reported back to me. The illusion of a perfect wedding would stand, but every detail would belong to me. Then came the vendors. I bought out the catering company 2 days before the event. The replacement menu. A mirror of what they ordered, but stripped of all luxury. The 5-course feast became lukewarm buffet trays. The champagne was replaced with generic sparkling juice, still poured into flutes, but flat by the second toast. I acquired the rights to the string quartet's sheet music for that date. They were forced to improvise with unfamiliar arrangements, producing awkward, jarring melodies that made guests frown without knowing why. And the photographer, a close friend I had mentored years ago, now an award-winning photojournalist known for capturing truth beneath ceremony. I didn't ask for glamour shots. I asked for reality. Sweaty brows. Disapproving frowns. Half-empty chairs. Speaking of chairs, I had the guest list scrambled. Deliberately. Half of their VIPs received emails about a venue change, which, of course, was never real. The other half showed up, confused and overdressed, to an event that looked nothing like the Pinterest board wedding they'd expected. But the masterpiece. The projector. The same screen they once used to humiliate me now held a surprise of its own. I commissioned a family legacy tribute video approved by my mother weeks ago. What they didn't know was that I had edited it with my own hands. The footage transitioned seamlessly from childhood memories to recent financial records, screenshots of my sister funneling emergency family savings into designer handbags, invoices from the ring that was supposedly handmade with love, paid for using our mother's health insurance card. Even leaked voice notes of my fiancé saying, "She'll never fight back. She's too passive. Too plain." It was scheduled to play during dessert. And I sat at the back table, sipping sparkling water, looking like just another guest. Until that screen flickered to life. The screen flickered. It began as expected, baby photos, awkward teenage clips, that overused shot of our family laughing on the beach like we were whole. Guests smiled politely. Then came the shift. Audio cracked. The video cut to a financial statement, zoomed in, time-stamped, money wired out of my mother's medical fund to a luxury boutique in Milan. The room grew still. The next image, a voice memo. My sister's voice, dripping with venom, "She's so clueless. It's almost sad. He was mine the whole time." Another screen, my ex text to a friend, laughing about how I was too boring to notice anything. Her loyalty is adorable. Like a golden retriever. The room gasped. Someone dropped their fork. My sister bolted from her seat, heels clicking against marble, shouting at the technician to turn it off. Too late. The final slide. A legal document showing a quiet business acquisition, the wedding venue, transferred to an LLC under my name. Then, silence. And I stood, calm, composed, unbothered. "I didn't come here to embarrass anyone," I said, walking toward the front. "But since embarrassment is all you ever gave me, maybe it's poetic." I turned to my mother. "Did you know the only reason the wedding even happened today is because I allowed it? Because every vendor, every inch of this property, every contract, they're mine now. Like the family home I bought last month. Like the trust fund I reclaimed after Grandpa's will was quietly rewritten without legal grounds." She said nothing. Her face was pale, her lips trembling. I faced my ex-fiancé. "You didn't just betray me. You miscalculated me. And you underestimated the one person who loved you enough to never brag about what she had." My sister lunged toward me, eyes wild. "You think this makes you powerful? You ruined my wedding." I raised an eyebrow. "No," I replied softly. "You ruined my engagement. I just gave you the gift of symmetry." They didn't clap. They didn't scream. They just sat there, a room full of people who had watched me disappear months ago, now forced to witness who I had become. The silence was louder than any applause. My mother collapsed into a chair, fanning herself with a menu that now felt embarrassingly empty. My father avoided my eyes, the same way he had when I needed him most. My sister. She was crying, not graceful, misty-eyed sobs like she practiced for Instagram. Real, ugly sobs. Rage-filled. Humiliated. Powerless. Just like I had been. Guests began to leave quietly. Some approached me on the way out, not with pity, but with a different look now. Respect. One whispered, "I had no idea." I smiled. "That's the point." My ex tried one last time, cornering me near the garden wall. "Look, we didn't handle it well, but you didn't have to go this far." I tilted my head. "You played a game. I just finished it." He stood there, watching the guests slip away, realizing the perfect narrative he'd built. Hero groom, stolen love, abandoned bride, had crumbled. And I hadn't raised my voice once. By the end of the night, word had spread, the wedding was a disaster. The sister had been exposed. The boring one owned everything. And I left the venue with my head high, heels clicking with the rhythm of liberation, as the sky above me crackled with distant thunder, like applause from the universe itself. Weeks later, I formally cut ties. I sold the family home, at market high. Transferred my mother's healthcare to a plan I managed independently. Released the video anonymously to ensure the truth reached everyone who once mocked me behind polite smiles. And when the silence became too loud for them, the calls started coming in. "Can we talk? Maybe we overreacted. Family is family, right?" But by then, I had already changed my number. Because you don't go back to a house that tried to burn you down. I wasn't the wounded bride anymore. I wasn't the placeholder. I was the one who learned how to build in silence. And when the world tried to bury me, I turned it into the foundation of my kingdom.